Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey there, this is Steve Roy, host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. And before we get into today's episode, I'm going to want to speak to all of you dads who are listening right now. If you're not where you want to be physically, you have to do something about it. And obviously, that's a given. But here's the deal. So many men, and I've been doing this for a very long time. I started the Fit Dad Nation in 2014. And I have seen countless dads, and most of the dads that are part of our community are in their 30s and 40s and maybe a little bit older. I see so many guys struggling day to day, just trying to maintain a semi-healthy lifestyle. Forget getting healthy. And to me, it's frustrating to see that. And one of the reasons why I created the Fit Dad Nation was to help guys get their health back and get their confidence back. I've shared this before. I went through a separation and subsequent divorce, but I was separated in 2012. Very rough time in my life, being away from my daughters for the first time, and I turned to food as medicine. And so I struggled. I literally ate McDonald's every night. I drank tons of soda, Red Bulls, Pop-Tarts, cheese and crackers, chips and salsa, you name it. I would just gorge myself. And while I never got quote-unquote fat, I turned into, a soft, mushy pile of shit. And I felt terrible. I had no energy. And it just got worse as I continued to eat. And a lot of guys are kind of caught in a cycle of eating crappy foods, not exercising, sitting a lot, putting themselves last. And that's certainly the fastest way to becoming obese and becoming weak and having diseases related to that, and then potentially dying before you potentially could die. And I think it's probably safe to say that every dad listening to the show right now wants to live as long as possible in the best health as possible, because you want to be around for their kids, right? We want to be around for our kids for as long as possible. We want to see them grow up and get older and have kids of their own. And, that's extremely important to us as dad. Obviously I can only speak for myself, but that's at the top of my priority list. That's really, really important to me. And, taking care of yourself is important. And most dads in my situation, when you're struggling either in a marriage or you're separated or divorced, right? You kind of put yourself last, and stress is high, and everything else takes precedence over taking care of your body and your health, and we just fall apart. And so I've created a couple of groups to help men that are struggling, and this is not for single dads. This is not for divorced dads. Most of the dads in our community are married, and a lot of them are happily married, but just making other things a priority. Just your family comes first, vacations and the dog and all the bills and your career, right? There's just not enough time. You don't have enough energy at the end of the day, and you just don't take care of yourself. And then that year leads to 5, leads to 10, and next thing you know, you're 40 pounds overweight. You're in those size 40 pants, and you're like, what the hell happened to my 34 waist? And then you're the fat guy at the pool, right? That's progression of things. In so many cases, I see it all the time, and it's fucked up. And so we've got a couple of groups. One, we've got a free private Facebook group called the Fit Dad Base Camp. We do plenty of stuff in there. I've had that group open for a couple of years, and there's a lot of resources in there for you if you're looking to be around some like-minded men. And not too long ago, I opened up a private membership community called the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle, which is far more interactive. We do tons of stuff in there. We do monthly challenges. We've got workout programs. There's just a massive amount of resources available to you as a dad. And for me, I created it for it to be kind of like a one-stop shop for a dad. And we work in accountability teams. And the engagement is phenomenal. And so that's one of the main selling points of a program, is being part of a community that gives a shit about you. And that's what we have there. So if you want to learn more about that, fdnic.com. It's the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle. So today I want to talk about the dad bod, and it's a term that's just been so overused. It's just kind of dumb, but it is what it is. But everybody has heard about it by now. And unfortunately, it's pool season right now. It's the middle of August. It's a pool season, beach season, and I go quite a bit with the kids, and there's a lot of fucking fat motherfuckers out there. And I'm not judging anybody. I'm not here to judge anybody. But I'm just going to tell you straight up, if you're fat, you're fat. You take ownership of it, and then you can either do something about it or you don't. And so I want to talk about how we get rid of the dad bod. And obviously this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. There are some guys that are really overweight that are going to really struggle with a lot of things. There are other guys that are like skinny fat that still have the dad bod. They're, 5'10", 160 pounds, but there's just no muscle, and there's a little bit of man boobie in there, and you're soft and flabby. And that's very common too, and that's going to take maybe a little bit of different type of training. But I want to just go over some general rules, and if you know anything about me or the Fit Dad Nation, I talk a lot about the basics. I don't try to get too wrapped up in the details, because the more complicated we make things, the less likely you are to follow it. And this industry is notorious for making things difficult and confusing, because that's how they sell products, or make you think you have to have this, or this is the best diet. It really boils down to a handful of basics, and I talk about this all the time, and it's not sexy and it doesn't sell. But I just refuse to play the game of, buy my product because it's the absolute best program on the market, and this is why, and blah, 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 blah. That's all marketing hype. And, there's no doubt I could be making far more money than I am now if I chose to play that game. It's just not right, in my opinion. I don't feel good about it, and I've already spent enough time, over a decade, in a career that I didn't feel good about, and it was lucrative, and I walked away from it to follow my passion for this. And I'm just a big believer that it's more important to love what you do than to make money at the expense of compromising, your morality. So that's where I'm at. So I'm going to just lay out some basics. And if you can follow these basics, you're going to be way ahead of the game. The only caveat is you cannot quit. This is not these aren't short-term fixes. I'm not saying, all right, guys, we're going to do intermittent fasting. We're going to only eat 4 hours a night or 4 hours a day. We're going to do that for a month. Yeah, of course you're going to lose weight, but that's not sustainable. Intermittent fasting is extremely powerful. I'm a fan. I use it in my programs, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the basics. Let's just stick with some basics. No fads, no crash diets, nothing stupid. And the problem is most men don't follow really most people. Women are probably actually worse at this, because they're really susceptible to marketing and trying to lose weight quickly, and will try any product, pill, potion, cream, band, anything that promises quick results. I see it still. I just had a conversation with somebody that and this is somebody I had conversation with at length about the right way to lose fat, and set up a program for her, and she's a friend, and the next thing I know, she tells me she's doing the blood type diet, and I'm like, what are you going to do? It's just, people will try anything if they think that it'll work. So I want you to forget all of that stuff. Forget about supplements, forget about diet books, all that shit. Focus on a handful of these core principles, these basics, and I promise that you'll start seeing results. It's that simple, and I said before, this is not going to be anything earth-shattering. I don't have any secrets, but at 48 years old, I'm in pretty damn good shape, and it's because I follow the basics and I don't get sucked into any of that fucking bullshit that's out there. It drives me crazy. But anyway, so the first thing here, guys, and again, this isn't crazy news to anybody. Get your ass in the gym. You need to train, ideally with weights, 3 or 4 times a week. So are weights absolutely essential? No. Can you get fit and lean with body weight only? Yes, you can. Weights will help you. Kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of machines, but if you're really overweight, or if you have some, injuries or knee problems, back problems, body weight exercises are fine. Push, pull, carry, squat, lunge, step, basics, right? These are basic things, but you gotta get your ass moving. It doesn't have to be in a gym. I just said gym, but do it in your garage, your basement, outside at a park, which is where I spend a lot of my gym time outside. But you have to do that because you need muscle tissue, and the only way you're going to gain more muscle tissue is by training with weight. So basically you're breaking down your muscles with weight training, and they rebuild bigger and stronger. Of course, you need to have an appropriate diet for that. You have to be eating enough protein for that to rebuild muscles. But the more muscle tissue you have, the faster your metabolism will be, and the more calories you will burn at rest. Okay, this is essential. Okay, you don't have to go crazy with a workout program. I do have a service that I offer. I write up custom workout programs based on your individual needs, goals, resources, all that stuff. If you're interested in that, just send me an email at steve@fitdadnation.com. I don't really advertise it, but I do offer custom workouts. But really, especially if you're new to this or if you've taken a long time off, just get moving and focus on big compound movements, like some kind of pulling movement, a pressing movement, could even be push-ups, some kind of deadlift, squat, or step up, something like that. I wouldn't get too caught up in isolation exercises, bicep curls, leg extensions, tricep extensions, right? Just try to get the most bang for your buck by using a lot of joints and a lot of muscles at once. So, really, it's that simple. Start something, write down your program, don't wing it, don't go to YouTube and try to piece together a workout on your own. Either find a workout program or, pay someone to write one for you, but stick with it for 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere in there. Typically your body, in my experience, will adapt. Probably about 8 weeks or so is the length of a program. I would probably not push it too much farther than that. All right, so we know that we're going to do that, right? We're also going to supplement that with some form of cardiovascular exercise. Now, people think, oh, fuck, cardio. I've got to sit on a treadmill for an hour or sit on a bike or an elliptical. It's boring. And you're right. It's fucking boring. I hate it. And I don't do it. And the reason I don't do it is because it's not effective for fat loss. It's great for overall health. Nothing wrong with sitting on a treadmill all day long, walking. It's great for heart health. You'll burn calories. You may feel good. But if your goal is fat loss, you don't have all day to sit around and fart around on the elliptical. You need to get shit done quickly. So what I write for my clients is short, intense cardio sessions. I call them conditioning, whether it's an AMRAP or a timed circuit, something like that, where it's short, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, depending on how fit you are. That's it, though. You're going to hit a lot of muscles. You're going to hit them fast. You're going to get your heart rate up quickly. You're going to let it come down. You're going to bring it back up. You're going to bring it back down. It's going to burn more calories. It's going to burn more calories after the workout. So use that kind of training a couple times a week to supplement your strength training. Okay, obviously the next piece is diet, right? This has been talked about, it's crazy. I mean, you can't go anywhere without hearing about a new diet, nutrition plan, whatever. All I want you to do is stop eating shit, right? Just stop eating junk food. Stop eating fast food, okay? And ditch soda. I mean, if you just focused on some of the basics, let's call it, lean meats, eggs, dairy, fruits, vegetables, nuts, some oils in there. Like coconut oil is one of my favorite things to cook with, and I love it. Avocado oil is good as well. Even olive oil is fine. Just that, right? Eliminating convenience store food, eliminating any trips to Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, all that shit. nothing fried. The soda is probably the biggest offender, or energy drinks. If you can clean that out, and it doesn't have to be overnight because it doesn't work for a lot of people. You can't just shut it off, especially if you've been eating shitty foods for a very long time, right? Stop eating that stuff. No, don't come home and after a long day of not eating and sit down to a plate of spaghetti and meatballs that's got, 1,500 calories worth of garlic bread and pasta. That's not going to help you at all. Focus your carbohydrates on fruits and vegetables. Maybe some sweet potatoes, some white potatoes, quinoa, rice is okay. Stuff like that, right? Instead of what we typically eat, which is all the garbage, okay? Potato chips and all that stuff. All the boxed products, get rid of it, okay? I will also say, doesn't matter how well you're eating. You can eat nothing but chicken breasts and broccoli. But if you're eating too many calories, more than you need, you will never lose weight. You have to be in a deficit. So you have to figure out how many calories you need and eat fewer. So that's number 2. Number 3, I want you to do dedicated mobility work every day. That can be foam rolling. That can be some light stretching. In the inner circle, I do a weekly mobility workout. I shoot a video. I walk you through every single stretch. And I'll tell you, at 48, if I wasn't doing that every day, I would be as stiff as a board. I've sat a lot in my life. Dealing with some issues with my shoulders coming forward, my head coming forward. And so it's been a constant struggle to get my posture better. My lower back was a little bit weak. And so, these mobility workouts have helped a lot of guys. And so, whether you, use something that I've done or not, find a mobility routine, do some yoga, something that's going to get you stretching and moving, and try to do it every day. As you get into your 30s and 40s, our bodies are going to start to, feel the effects of sitting, and a lot of us are sitting for many hours of the day. That's going to affect a lot of your body, and you're going to move a lot less well over time. And the last thing you want is to be like a hunchback or a hobbling old man when you're 60. So that's number 3, very, very important. Okay. I want to talk about, I think I actually have a whole episode on this. Sleep. Boring, yes, but absolutely critical. Do your best. This can't be overstated. Get your 7 to 8 hours at least. I don't want to hear your excuse why you can't get enough sleep because blah blah blah. Figure it out. It's that important. Really, it will affect your hormones. It will affect your appetite. You will struggle to lose weight if you're not sleeping enough. End of story. Next, water. Again, not extremely exciting. Replace all your beverages except for coffee or tea. That's fine. With water. Get rid of all the frappuccino shit, the energy drinks, soda, diet soda. All that stuff is not necessary. If you just load up on water, and I recommend half of your body weight in ounces every day. So right now I'm 180 pounds. Half of your weight in ounces every day. You can probably tell it's been a long week. We had staycation this past week, and we were out on the water a couple days, and I got roasted. Yesterday we were out in the water, and I got roasted. I'm just burnt to a crisp, and I'm ready for bed here. It's actually 7:30 at night here, and I'm like trying to stay awake just to shoot this show here. But anyway, next up, stress. You absolutely have to get rid of your stress, and that's obviously easier said than done. Some of us have far more than others, but we all have it, whether it's financial, whether it's in your relationships, your marriage, you have a difficult teenager, your career, whatever. There's always going to be stress. Seriously, you got to figure out how to manage it better. Find an outlet, whatever it is. For me, yes, it's exercise, but I listen to a lot of thrash metal, heavy metal. I grew up in the 80s, and I grew up loving like mid 80s to late 80s thrash metal, Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica, Testament, that kind of stuff. And I listened to it constantly, and that's a stress reliever for me. It's pounding, it's fast, it's loud, it's ringing in my ears, but I love it, and it's my release. You got to find your own. So, a couple other things that I want you to think about. So those are some of the bare basics, right? And this, like I said, this is not anything you haven't heard 100 times before, but you're not doing it. That's why you're not in the shape that you want to be in, or you're not as fit as you want to be. I want you to put yourself first. Okay, this is extremely important. Most people, and I talked about this a little bit in the beginning of the show, most dads put themselves last because that's what we do as dads, right? We put everybody, everything, some of us even like to play the martyr. It just doesn't work, and it's not selfish to put yourself first and say, listen, I need time for myself. I have to take care of myself, because I absolutely promise you that when you take care of yourself, you put yourself first, you start taking care of yourself, your life will get better. You will be a better husband. You will be a better father. You'll be a better employee or business owner. You will be, because you're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to have more self-esteem. You're going to walk with your head up. You're going to carry yourself differently. These are huge, huge things. When you feel awesome about yourself, life is better. Believe me, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been just a sloppy pile of shit for a long time, and I felt horrible about myself. I walked around, with my head down, looking down at the ground, just trying not to be noticed, and it sucks. But a lot of guys do it. I see it all the time in stores. I'll go out to a store, to shopping, the supermarket, and I see guys just plodding along behind their wives, their head down. You can just tell they're just miserable. And so there's no need to be like that. And once you start feeling better about yourself, shit will happen, and your life will get better. I want you to also please forget about short-term progress. I want you to focus on the longer-term results, and realize that your health is the best investment you can make, period. Yes, there's a lot to be said for short-term wins. A few pounds here, your pants fit a little bit differently. Someone notices that you look a little bit more muscular. Those are all huge things. But don't get caught up in trying to, nickel and dime a few pounds here and there. Realize that this is a life decision for you. It's not just about having a dad bod. It's about, just living a much higher quality of life and being a better person because of it. And, there's nothing more important than being a great father. To me, some of you may disagree. You may think that being a husband is number one, but to me, it's being the best father I can be. And if you're full of, Wendy's cheeseburgers, French fries, and Frosties, you're not exercising, you're 30 pounds overweight, you can't be the best dad you can be. I don't care if you agree with me or not. I've seen it. I've lived it. Believe me, you can't do it. You have to be on your A game. And it's not realistic to be at the top of your game 24/7, and it's never going to happen. But when you get your shit in order, you get your health in order, you get your fitness in order, you get your exercise, you get your diet in order, life gets way better. And I want you to think about this. So all the things that you've done up to this point, right, have led to what you have right now, what you look at in the mirror. A lot of you are not happy with what you see. That's why I'm here. That's why I created this whole movement. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to fitness has not been a priority in your life. And I'm not putting you down. I'm saying it's just a fact, right? If it was a priority, you'd be fit. It's not, and that's okay. But if you want it to be, then, I would ask that you take a serious look at yourself, your lifestyle, and then ask yourself one important question. That's why? Why do I want to be fit? Why do I want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym when it sucks outside, when I just would rather sleep? Well, the answer is very personal to everybody. It's an emotional reason, and there's one in there. And if there isn't, then, maybe it's not for you. Not every person, obviously, is going to be fit. There are many millions of men, millions of dads in this country alone that will never be fit. They will never do anything to improve their health, or very little. And they live with that. That's fine. That's not anybody I want to talk to, because they're never going to have an interest in doing anything about it. I'm looking for action takers. This community is about action takers. I work with men that want to do things better. And if you need help, that's what I do. That's what I do for a living. I help men change their lives in these areas. So ask yourself why. Why is it important to you? I can't give you that answer. And once you really realize what that is, whether it's looking good naked, having better sex with your wife, or outliving your father who died early of diabetes, whatever it is for you, find it and let that control your decisions. And last thing I'll tell you right now, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Stop using excuses and get off your fucking ass and start doing something now. That's the only way you're going to improve. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Don't plan and procrastinate any longer than you already have. Do something, and do something now. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.